Hello viewers of Tien RV channel. Today, we bring you a story that makes millions of hearts ache. Tien, a gentle wife, about to become a mother, suddenly falls into critical condition after an unexpected accident. At the hospital, the doctor makes the most difficult decision of Jack's life. Keep the life of his beloved wife, or the unborn child. Let's go deeper into this tearful moment and this cruel choice. Jack hurriedly drove to the farm, the last place he knew Tien was. The whole way, his heart was pounding so hard that it felt like it was going to burst out of his chest. Her phone was still unreachable. The last text message was just a promise to bring him the contract. But from that moment on, everything seemed to be cut off. As soon as he stopped the car in front of the farm gate, Jack rushed inside, his eyes filled with confusion. He met the man Tien used to call Uncle Dong, her ex-father-in-law who had raised her for a while. Jack asked urgently, "Uncle, is Tien here? I've been looking for her since this morning but I can't find her anywhere." Mr. Dong slowly looked at Jack, his face unable to hide his confusion, then shook his head. "She's not here. I haven't seen her since this morning." The sentence was like a thunderclap. Jack stood still, his throat choked. He knew clearly that Tien was not the type of person who would suddenly disappear. And even more so, would not go anywhere without saying a word. His expression gradually became tense, his palms cold, an uneasiness rose in his heart like a dark shadow squeezing his chest. Then, "I'll excuse myself, I'll continue," without even a chance to say goodbye. Jack turned and left the farm, his eyes as if dazed, his head echoing with chaotic thoughts. An ominous premonition was surrounding him. What had happened to Tien? At this moment, the silver car stopped in front of the hospital gate in a hurry. A couple in their 60s, the silver-haired man driving and his wife sitting next to him, together helped Tien into the emergency room. Both of their faces were filled with worry and panic. They were the ones who accidentally caused the collision at the intersection when Tien crossed the street to give the contract to Jack. Although the fault was not entirely theirs, when they saw the young girl collapse in the middle of the road, blood flowing from her forehead and stomach, they did not hesitate to immediately take her to the nearest hospital. The wife gently rubbed Tien's hand as she was pushed onto the stretcher, muttering in tears, "My child, hang in there, it will be fine." The husband hurriedly ran after the doctor, repeatedly asking, "Doctor, save the child, please." After Tien was transferred to the emergency room, the two of them sat waiting in front of the door, their faces dazed. The wife held Tien's phone with a broken screen but could not open it. "I don't know who to call. The child is not awake. The phone is broken. How can we find the family?" A moment later, the doctor came out with a serious expression. His eyes slanted down under the glasses, then spoke calmly but tensely. "This girl is currently pregnant. The condition is quite serious. We need to contact the family immediately to ask for opinions on some treatment options. The fetus is still small, but the treatment for the mother will greatly affect the baby." The old couple was stunned. They looked at each other, then quickly stood up. The husband's voice choked. "Doctor, please save both mother and child. We will try to find relatives to help." The atmosphere was now thick with excitement and tension. The battle for the life of Tien and the baby in her womb had just officially begun. The afternoon brought with it a pale yellow light that stretched across the bustling street. Jack stood in the middle of the intersection where Tien had her accident, his eyes scanning every corner of the street with the faint hope of finding some trace of her. He asked every street vendor, every resident living around this area. Everyone said that there was indeed a young girl who had an accident the day before, about 20 years old. Long hair, pretty face, fainted in a pool of blood. The people who caused the accident were an elderly couple, but they looked very gentle and kind. They did not run away but immediately took the girl to the nearest hospital. Hearing that, Jack's heart felt like it was being squeezed. He continued to ask with a pleading look, "Do you remember their license plate number? Or what car they were driving? In which direction?" A nearby motorbike taxi driver shook his head and sighed. We were so worried at that time. Everyone panicked and ran over to see. No one paid attention to the license plate number. They must have been driving a silver car. Jack tried to hold on to a little hope. Was she seriously injured? The sugarcane juice vendor nearby looked up. Her eyes filled with tears as she recalled. It was quite serious. Blood flowed from her head onto her shirt. And she passed out on the spot. It was so heartbreaking to see. At that time, everyone thought she wouldn't make it. After hearing that, Jack held back a sigh. Then without saying another word, he jumped on his motorbike and drove like crazy to all the hospitals around the area. District hospitals, health stations, and private hospitals. He knocked on every door, describing Tien's face and condition in detail. But the only response he got was head shakes and concerned looks. There's no such patient. After nearly 2 hours of running around, sweat soaking his back, Jack fell into a state of exhaustion. He stopped in front of a small park near the provincial hospital and sat down on a stone bench. A feeling of helplessness welled up. His throat was dry, and his eyes were red. He had never felt so desperate. Why did he have to face this when he had just found her again? Why did the girl he loved the most disappear just when he was about to hold her hand and walk into a new future? Jack looked up at the gray sky, the clouds gathering to the west as if signaling an approaching storm. He stood up, walking aimlessly until his eyes stopped at a small church nestled in the alley. Without hesitation, Jack gently pushed the door open and entered. The atmosphere inside was unusually quiet. The yellow candlelight reflected on the statues of saints, creating warmth in the coldness in his heart. He knelt down in the front row, his hands clasped in prayer. Please keep her for me. Please don't let her leave me. I can give up everything. As long as she's alive, and the baby, please save them. No one answered, only the sound of the wind blowing through the window. But Jack's heart suddenly felt somewhat calmer. With nothing left to hold on to, he could only put all his faith in a miracle. At a small phone repair shop on the side of the road, the elderly driver gently placed Tien's broken phone on the table. The phone was badly damaged by the collision. The screen was cracked. The outer shell was scratched, and it no longer powered on. The shop owner, a young man in his 30s, wearing glasses and a gentle appearance, shook his head as he looked at it and said, "The phone's hardware is broken. We have to replace both the screen and the battery, and the data may not be preserved. When you finish it tomorrow, I'll come back to get it. There's no time today." The driver nodded, his face worried but still gentle. "Thank you. Please try to fix it soon. The girl is in the hospital and can't contact anyone." He then turned and walked back to the hospital, holding nothing but a pack of medicine he had hastily bought on the side of the road. When he opened the door and entered the hospital room, his wife was sitting next to Tien's bed, her gentle eyes following the girl's face. Still unconscious, she placed her warm hand on Tien's hand. Her eyes filled with concern, no different from a mother watching over her daughter. When she saw her husband enter, she looked up and asked softly, "How is it, sir? Can the phone be fixed?" He sighed softly, pulled the chair closer and sat down, his voice quiet. "The shop owner said it will be fixed tomorrow. Now the only way is to wait for the phone to be returned and then find out who the girl's relatives are." His eyes stopped at Tien's pale face. His heart ached. A young girl, with so much future ahead of her, now lying here alone with no relatives. He turned to her, put his hand on her shoulder and said softly, "Okay, you sit here and watch the child. I'll go buy some lunch for you. It's been hours since you've eaten anything." She nodded, her eyes still not leaving Tien. "Yes, you go. I'm here with the child. Just looking at the child makes my heart ache." He nodded slightly and left the room. In the white room, there was only the steady sound of the heart monitor and the eyes of a kind mother watching the girl lying between life and death.